Let there be purity of thought in our offerings. This story goes back to the period when the Pandavas were living in the forests, that is, during their Vanavasa. One night, sage Durvasa, along with 10,000 of his disciples, arrives at their dwelling. The Pandavas, along with Devi Draupadi, had already had their dinner. Dharmaraja, the eldest Pandava, welcomes them with utmost devotion and enquires about their welfare. Sage Durvasa instructs that they all would be arriving to partake food after finishing their daily oblations in the river. The Pandavas had been bestowed with a vessel that could produce an inexhaustible amount of food called the Akshaya Patra by the sun god, which they could now use to bring forth food to serve Durvasa and his 10,000 disciples. But a rule applied to the Akshaya Patra. Once Draupadi had finished her dinner, they would have to wait till sunrise on the following day for the vessel to make any more food. Now, how could they serve the guests? How could they escape the wrath of sage Durvasa, for which he was well known? A worried Dharmaraja shares his dilemma with Draupadi, and Draupadi, after contemplating for a while, takes refuge in their ultimate protector from perils, Lord Sri Krishna. Responding to her prayers, Sri Krishna appears in their presence at that very instant, but he demands to be served food. Draupadi, concentrating all her thoughts unto him, offers him the single grain of cooked rice that had remained stuck to the vessel, and the Lord is satisfied partaking that. And the moment he consumes that single grain of rice, sage Durvasa and his disciples are satiated, and their hunger is gone. Is it not true that the god of fire, residing in the belly of all, Vaishvanara, is none other than the soul of souls, Lord Krishna himself? When he himself is satisfied with the food offered by Draupadi, his worshippers, sage Durvasa and his disciples, are also satiated, and they bless the Pandavas and take leave. As the Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita, he is satisfied with an offering of a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even a drop of water if presented to him with devotion. The one who is ever satisfied loves the sentiment of surrender behind the offering rather than the quantum of offering. He expects and accepts offerings made with that kind of pure sentiment, such as those of Vidura and Shabari. While making offerings to God or in his service or to preceptors and elders, the importance is for the purity of thought and the sentiment of detachment. Only then it becomes an offering in the truest sense. Here we can recall the words of Sri Sriranga Mahaguru, who said, "In outer space, that is in vacuum, an ingot of gold and a bale of cotton lose the importance of their weight, and both travel at the same speed, being weightless." In the same way, when offerings are made to the Lord with purity of thought, whether they are mounds of gold or a single coin, they all take the same form and lose their relative value. What is important is the purity of mind and heart with which the offering is made.